Hi, my name's Phil. I'd like to talk about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss another illiterate reading of history from Daniel Hannan, who is one of the architects of Brexit in the UK. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So, Daniel Hannan, one of the founders of the official Brexit campaign and someone who has recently been named as an advisor to our Board of Trade. He's also someone who said before the Brexit referendum, of course we won't leave the single market. It would be madness to leave the single market. And of course, as soon as that result was delivered, of course we must leave the single market. I mean, that's what people voted for. But anyway, he has tried to complain that the EU are being unfair and has rather unwisely decided to try and draw a parallel with America's campaign for independence in the 18th century. He had this to say on Twitter. After 1782, Great Britain recognised the reality of American independence and focused on agreeing strong trading ties with the new state, much to its own benefit. The EU, sadly, has been unable to make an equivalent psychological adjustment. Oh, bless. Now, I'm not an expert on history, unlike Daniel Hannan himself, who has a degree in history from Oxford. But I seem to remember something about a bitter war when it came to Americans declaring independence from Britain. I think they even had a name for it, something like the American War of Independence. Perhaps they weren't teaching that at Oxford while Hannan was there, or maybe I'm just showing my own ignorance. Perhaps the word war was over-egging things a bit. Maybe it was just a 4-year period of intense negotiations, much like we had over Brexit, that some diarist at the time inflated for the newspapers. However, actual historians to the rescue, because although I know some of the details that strongly suggest that America's independence was not at all amicable on either side for generations, there is plenty I don't know about. I mean, I'm not a historian. For example, Hannan himself mentioned 1782. So from this point on, according to the Oxford history graduate, Britain was very convivial towards the newly founded United States of America and did our best to ease their passage into becoming a fully fledged independent nation. We'd completely got over the idea that they didn't want to be part of the British Empire, and we said, okay, we're over that now. We had a bit of a spat, but you know what? We're nice. We want to help you now. We'd like to help you. We built up such ties as maintaining the Navigation Acts. Now, what this did was to prevent the United States, the newly independent United States, from trading with Britain and its colonies. That was nice of us, wasn't it? Not entirely sure how that constitutes strong trading ties. I suppose you could argue that he's referring to the strong trading ties that we used to bind the United States' ability to trade. In which case, I'm not sure why he's complaining about the EU, because even in the event of a no-deal scenario, we will still be able to trade with them. They're not going to blockade our ports. Some French fishermen may blockade their own ports. That's different. So we are still going to be able to trade, just on less preferential terms and in much less easy circumstances. I mean, that's a much kinder situation, I would have thought. And we did this until 1849, apparently. 1849. So for 77 years, a good 3 generations, we prevented them trading with what was then the largest trading bloc in the world. So if Hannan wants the EU to treat us as we treated the United States at the time, then they'll allow us to trade with them in 2097. So that's good. I mean, neither he nor I will be around to see it, but it's nice to know that 3 generations hence, trade between the UK and the EU can finally start up again. And in the intervening period, we also had a bit of a Barney in Europe. Napoleon was doing his stuff, and so Britain also cut off trade between the United States and France, for good measure. So at this point, we had cut off trade between the United States and the British Empire, and now France as well, which of course was also a major power in the world. That, of course, sparked another war between the US and the UK, because Americans were none too pleased about the fact that their trading routes were being blocked unlawfully by what was at the time the world's biggest bully. Frankly, I was trying to represent the interests of the UK. You know, if I were doing this in an official capacity, for example, by being voted onto the Board of Trade, and the UK were about to inflict upon itself a perilous state of having almost no agreements around the world, especially with the most powerful nations, I don't think I'd be drawing attention to the crappy way that we treated others when we were the global superpower. At this point, I'm not entirely sure that Oxford's history department is coming out of this with a great deal of credit. Of course, it is possible that Daniel Hannan is not ignorant. I mean, he is a history graduate. Maybe he is aware of the facts and is telling a few fibs to the gullible in the UK. Brexiteers have been known to tell the odd lie from time to time. And then the event I did know about is very famous. So during the war that we sparked off by cutting off even more trade routes from America during the Napoleonic Wars, 32 years after Hannan is claiming that Britain and America were getting on famously. Oh, best of friends. Absolutely no hard feelings at all. We set fire to a load of their government buildings, including the presidential mansion. It's not called the presidential mansion anymore. It's called the White House. It's called the White House because that was what they had to do to repair the fire damage that we caused in an act of spiteful retribution for Americans, to be fair, doing the same thing to us earlier on. So the situation really is as follows. You've got Daniel Hannan and his pirates told people that we were powerful enough to not only go it alone, not only that, but the rest of the world would be queuing up to deal with us, and the EU would be forced to give us everything that we demanded. We held all the cards, all of them. We would have exactly all of the benefits being in the EU and none of the downsides. Then Brexit reality started to emerge, and it's quite clear we don't hold the cards at all. In fact, we hold no cards suitable for a winning hand. So now it's the EU being mean to us. That's what it is. We're no longer strong. Oh no, we didn't mean we were strong. What we meant is the EU are mean. It's their fault we chose to make ourselves their opponents. Actually, not just their opponents, because that's how Brexit would start off as. But we have behaved so appallingly badly towards them over the past few years. So venomously appallingly badly. Continuing even today, that we have chosen to make ourselves not merely their opponents on the international stage, because you can be opponents and still friends and allies. We have chosen to make ourselves their adversaries. We are weak, not strong. They know that now because they are no longer saying that we can demand whatever we want. Because, again, reality now has to appear. We can no longer, or not for many more weeks, go along with the nonsense they've been spouting. The unicorns are all being packed away before anyone gets close enough to realise that they're actually just donkeys with dildos strapped to their heads. So now they're trying to justify it by saying that the EU should be doing us a favour. They have a duty to help emerging states with a leg up. And they make the claim for this imagined duty by referring to history. And of all the episodes in history they decide to settle on, they decide to pick on how Britain treated the United States when they had decided they no longer wished to be part of the British family. Which I suppose was a little bit like the EU then, only instead of being bound by treaties and goodwill, it was held together by gunboats and rifle detachments. If I'm honest, and I wanted to try and find a historical situation that would try and justify demands for the EU to go easy on us without any benefit to them, I'm not sure I would find too many examples. I may not find any at all. But I really don't think I would find any examples from the history of the British Empire, really. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.